Yeah, show him I can still rap though. Now I'm in the game, I was on the bench. First I was renting, now I'm collecting rent. Run it up. First it with the Beamer, now I want the Benz. Spending all the back like here I go again. Outside says the chirp, now the camera phone. Told you I'ma keep the channels on. Why you acting different when the camera's on? Why you acting different like your paper long? 8 day wake up and I thank God. Bad decision got you wishing you could say nah. My city gritty, you could get hit any day now. On my mama, I'ma move my family way out. With some 20s, 50s, hundreds, thousands, millions, billions, trillions, zillions. I'm talking Amazon money, talking so much money I could mess around and buy Amazon. I been winning, I'm like, why me? I heard these labels wanna buy me. I don't need you, boo, I style me. I roll G's and they grind me. Now I'm on my game, nothing is the same. Who am I to blame? Money made me change. Cardi in my ring when I'm switching lanes. Money in the carry on them Boeing planes. Money in the carry on them Boeing planes. Now I got a buck for all those rainy days. Ain't have a day off in like 80 days. I got hustles in like 80 ways. Kids if he won't take a lazy day. Wifey when me told me take a break. I keep going to the paper street. Then it's trips out to Montego Bay. If I take the job, bet I get it done. I said it before, I'm a 101. I just caught some ones, only wearing ones. Fornicate the funds, money made me calm. Diamonds on your neck, bet they on your neck. You want that watch, you better rock a tech. You want that chain, you better cop a vest. You want the check, but can you make it stretch? Took so many years, I'm just waiting for the wins. I'm in debt to no one but the one who took my sins. I do it for real, there's no reason to pretend. If I do it once, I do it again. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up. I'm just doing me, everything is on me, or you matter what. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up. I'm just doing me, everything is on me, or you matter what. Told her if it's all me, everything is on me, gon' back it up. Matter what? Told you I'ma do me, why you hating on me? It's not adding up. I do roll like a Mack truck, country heart, I might cop a farm and go act up. Lot of scars, I was cold-hearted, now I'm back up. Keep it real, I do this once a month, I don't rap much. I just take the money and go stack up. Only buying car to get tatted up. All that other bull, it don't matter much. You only climb me, I put the ladders up. No fault. I done doubled up on the workload. I think I fell in love with the bankroll. Pray up, get money, then we lay low. Smoke in the air, pure gasoline. I see the news, see what you read. Change gotta come, put that on me and watch me educate. Yeah, we been could've started, but it's never late. Do it for my kids, yeah, let's set it straight. Do it for your kids, gotta set it straight. It's time to regulate. We need change now. We need solar, we need EV in the game now. Make it changes so the earth we know can stay around. Make it change cause we had no time for playing around. Let's quit the playing around. First rule to me, let's keep it clean. Watch how we build, clean air we need. Start from the flow, sweep up the scene. We going green, work as a team. First rule to me, let's keep it clean. Watch how we build, clean air we need. Start from the flow, sweep up the scene. We going green, we going green.
You know what I'm saying? They definitely don't hide the gore in that, man. But yo, what is going on, people? Yes, it is Thursday, and believe it or not, next podcast is indeed live. What is going on, chat? Good to see you guys. I will start off the show. I got to give a couple of apologies. Last couple of weeks we have not been here. Last week I had to deal with kind of like the paperwork for my lease, and I had to do it after work on Thursday, so there was no way I was getting here for the show. But it's important, you got to make sure you have, I don't know, a place to live.
Just like those ponies on fucking Twitter, man.
Yeah, especially Supersonic, man. When does all not mean all, people? When does all not mean all? Oh my god! See, Dark, you got me started already,
all,
man.
Dude.
You got me started already.
Listen, you hear all, but it's not all.
It's not all. Yeah, unanimous does not mean all. Okay.
100% is not 100%.
You know, when Derek Jeter,
it's gonna be 110%.
when Derek Jeter got voted into the Hall of Fame, you know, he missed it unanimously.
Yeah.
Because of one vote that voted against him. So not all the voters voted. Oh my goodness.
But he was in there. He was in.
But it just wasn't unanimous. But yeah, see, look what you did, man. You're instigating already, bro. Yo, guys, we have a show for you today. It seems that there is a possibility that PlayStation 5s are overheating. Yo, shout out to my brother Next Gen 720, whose PS5 decided it was gonna overheat and smoke right in the middle of his stream playing Final Fantasy. So shout out to you, brother. I have a feeling you got enough money to get another one, though. I have a feeling. Yo, you scrape those pennies together, bro. You could definitely get another console. But yo, we are in for it tonight. We gotta catch up on the whole Activision Blizzard deal. The court. Yo, things are going crazy. People are getting pissed off at Xbox on Twitter, talking about they want to buy everything. Monopoly. We gotta get into that. There's things to talk about, but let's get into the intros first. Let's start on the West Coast, man. This dude has been streaming like an animal over here on the YouTube channel. If you're not following his channel yet, definitely go over there and sub up to his channel. Of course, it is the man from the West Coast. It is Dark Optimus. Yo, Optimus, what is up, bro?
What's up, man? You know, some people would say I'm streaming like an otter. But you know, it is what it is. Been we've been having a blast playing games and stuff. But I put out a poll yesterday and was just like, you know what, I don't know where Street Fighter kind of is hitting right now.
It wasn't.
And it wasn't. So,
it wasn't. The story, yo, dude, I give you props. That story is horrible, man.
It is, dude. It's bad.
I give you props for going through so much of it.
Yeah. I was like, man, I can't do this anymore. Like literally, I was like on the last stream that I did for Street Fighter 7 or Street Fighter 6. I was literally like, bro, I can't do this anymore. So, luckily, I put out a poll and everybody was just like Diablo 4. I mean, not everybody because there was only like 10 votes, but whatever.
I didn't get to vote for that, or else I would have voted for Final Fantasy. When are you gonna stream Final Fantasy, sir?
Possibly after Diablo 4.
Okay, all right. That's when you're gonna see me in your streams, like every time you stream. I want to let you know that whether it's to mess with you over the hot trash that you're playing, or maybe you got some Final Fantasy skill there, and you might start dominating. I don't know, but I'll be there for that, man. Definitely.
Lady Foxfire says you're too loud, bot.
I'm always too loud. Hold on, let me. I know I changed the volume on the mic itself. I just lowered it. Hopefully that's better. I could back away from the mic as well, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Dark, we got to introduce the next man here. Of course, he is actually listening to the court case right now. For you guys. For you. So this way we get the most up-to-date news and information. It is my brother Predator. Predator, what is up, bro? And what's going on? What's going on? Anything new? Bombs dropped? What's popping, man?
No, they just wrapped up. I stopped listening when we did the intro. So they wrapped up, and they're gonna do. I guess they're gonna have some paperwork submitted tomorrow, and then they're gonna kind of come back and look at some stuff on Monday. But I don't think we're gonna get a decision until maybe late next week, if at all, late next week. So yeah, they're done with the closing arguments. So it's actually pretty interesting today.
Yeah,
as I pour my drink.
Got done with court. Got to pour the drink. Yeah, that's how we do it.
Whiskey going.
So, brother, we haven't been on for a couple weeks, man. What you been up to? Have you gotten any gaming in? What's going on, man?
Just a little Diablo. That's about it. I haven't really been playing anything. And to be honest with you, I haven't touched Diablo in probably like a week. So not much of anything. Just I've been listening to this show, this FTC show, Never. It's like the OJ trial, man. Like like you get into it and you can't not get out of it at that point. It's like a train wreck.
Dude, I remember the OJ trials.
Yeah,
man.
like it's like nobody, like you would never ever, like there's certain things that happen in like the history of our lives that like you end up watching some shit that you'll never watch again. The OJ trial was one. Fucking the insurrection of Trump. Like you just like you glued to the TV. And so like this was one of those situations like you just had to listen in, like you just had to hear it live. So that's what I've been doing pretty much all week while I'm sitting here working from home and stuff like that, and fixing up the house, and that's it. I ain't really been doing too much gaming, but I mean now that all this is over, I'll probably finish up Diablo, get back into that.
Well, dude, you get into the business side of things anyway. So like out of anybody I know, if there was anybody that was like, yo, I'm gonna listen to this, like kind of like every day, it would be you, man. I already kind of knew that. If it was anybody in my crew that probably has like a better understanding of shit that they're saying as well, I have a feeling also it would be you, Pred. So it's going to be an interesting day today. Interesting show tonight as well, man. I can't wait to hear what you think in terms of this whole court case. And of course, in the chat, yo, shout out to Lady Foxfire. Shout out to Stinking Corpse, who is in the chat as well. What is up? Casket Repair, of course, was first. Shout out to you, brother. Guys, you know what to do. Hit that thumbs up. I'm going to do it right now. I didn't even do it yet. Yo, hit that thumbs up. Share the show out on social media, wherever you go to talk games. And let people know that we are here. We are live right now, and we are getting into it. Guys, I think we should start on the PS5 side because going late last week into this week, there started to be reports about PS5s overheating when playing a certain game, Final Fantasy 16. And not only that, but somebody within the community, a guy by the name of Next Gen, was streaming Final Fantasy, and his PS5 overheated, started smoking, and I believe it's done. It is a brick. It is a paperweight now. Seeing this, like, it kind of brings me back to when before the release of these consoles, when we were getting the specs and the people who were putting these things together, Mark Cerny, and they were saying how these systems would operate, how they would run games. I really believe, and guys, definitely check me if I'm wrong here, but there were a lot of PC/tech guys when they were talking about the clocking of the GPU, possibly even the CPU. Like the process in which they did it is not your standard way, and I remember there were concerns about overheating with the system then, and I even believe Sony came out and even said when it came to clocking, it would be on a game-by-game basis in terms of the speed of these chips per game. Me and Dark we started talking about this off air, so I want to bring Pred into this. Pred, do you remember what I'm talking about with the beginning of these systems? Was there a concern about overheating and stuff? And do you think like what we're seeing with Final Fantasy now is possibly tied to basically the design of the PS5?
I definitely remember there being a concern with the overheating because people were making fun of how many what was the thing, the little copper cooling things they have in there, how big they were, and they were talking about the liquid, I guess the silicone they were using,
liquid
like
metal,
and,
liquid metal.
Yeah, the liquid metal and stuff that was in there. So like, yeah, I definitely remember that, and people were, I remember some of the breakdowns and stuff like that where people were doing like, the heat tests and stuff like that of how hot that chip got. And we all kind of thought that. I think we all kind of came to consensus. The reason why that thing is so big was so it could have all those cooling components in there because it was overheating. And that's why we never really saw anything about it until like the last minute. We saw the size of it, like we saw the design of it and stuff like that. But like, when it first came out, like they didn't really. Remember, they only had certain people allowed to play it. You had to do blowing on the fucking controller and shit, and like they had like a small subset of people that were allowed to actually play the console and use the console. and so and then it went on sale. People bought it, and then we got the breakdowns of it, and so that was one of the major concerns, the heating, the cooling aspect of it. So like I know we talked about that multiple times in the first camp. I don't remember seeing a lot of people's shit get fucked up though. Like I remember like in the very beginning, like some people had some of the software issues that were causing it. But like what I've seen happen on the internet recently with Final Fantasy, I don't think I've ever seen that before until recently. Like the shit that's completely melting down. So I remember some people were overheating, and the chip was like, it would disconnect or whatever. They couldn't get it to turn back on, and some other stuff going on with the game saves and stuff like that. But like to what I've seen so far on the internet with this game, I've never seen that before with the PlayStation 5 until recently. So I don't know if they're just like it's melting these things, I guess. So and I don't know, it's not everyone, I guess, but I don't know what's going on, what version they have and that kind of thing. But I mean, it's definitely a thing because I've seen it with a few consoles on there. So
well, I know Zeev's PS5 is the one with the big heat sink. It's basically kind of like your day one PS5. It's the one that he got, when the system's released. So like, I believe it's got that big kind of like Buick grill looking heat sink in it and all that good stuff. Now, the reason why I ask this, man, like we've seen a lot of games come out this gen already, and we've seen a lot of like graphically like incredible games when it comes to PS5. Now we know, like when you look at Spider-Man, at its core, down at the framework, the infrastructure of that game is a PS4 game. I mean, there's no kind of like running around that or anything. We also know when it comes to like when it comes to Naughty Dog, a lot of their tech when it comes to their graphics is kind of like it's their own tech. Their animation kind of like the only word I keep coming up is guessing, but like the computer kind of plans out the animation before it actually happens and stuff like that when it comes to Naughty Dog and stuff. So what I'm getting at here is graphically and kind of like in the traditional sense, I feel like Final Fantasy might be one of the most demanding games on the PlayStation 5. Do you see what I'm saying, Pred? Like it's made in kind of like the more traditional way, not with the special techniques and stuff like that. So I feel like it could be a system thing, but we haven't really seen it yet because until now, because of how graphically intensive Final Fantasy is. Does that make sense to you, Pred?
Yeah.
Okay.
That does. I mean, we haven't really seen enough. I want to say data since I've been listening to them.
You've been watching that too much.
We haven't seen enough data on it yet, so we don't know. We don't know if it's the game or if it's outside factors like it being fucking hot as fuck in Texas right now, and your house is warm and you don't have proper airflow. I don't know.
Airflow data. Hell.
People living in the hot, musty houses, man.
We don't have data right now. There's no data supporting that at this time.
Right. There's no data. There's no official data.
Are you eating K-Bag?
I am. I'm eating popcorn.
Pred, I just want to cut you off and remind you we are not concerned about Sony's well-being. Let's be concerned about the consumer's well-being. How about that?
There you go.
There you go. Are you 100% on that? Are you 100% on that?
No, I'm not 100%, but I am unanimous, though.
You're unanimous? Okay. All right. You're all in?
Guys, for people who know, K-Mega has jumped in here. K-Mega, I think you jumped in at the perfect time because we are clowning around over the fucking news this past week, man. It has been hilarious, the outrage out there from a certain set of gamers and stuff. But we're talking about the PS5 with Final Fantasy and the reports coming in about the game kind of like bricking systems. We saw it with Zaire on his stream. Yeah. It killed his PS5, man. I don't know. What do you think about this? Like we talked before these systems came out, And there was a concern about overheating from, people that are into tech, they're into, computers, stuff like that, in terms of like the clocking of these chips and how they're doing it. It's not your traditional way. Do you think, K-Mega, that has something to do with what's going on with Final Fantasy
absolutely.
right now?
Absolutely. All you got to do is go to the beginning of the generation and remember people's consoles was getting hot or cutting off when playing Demon Souls. So this is one of those things where, like, if it's in that game, it's graphically intensive, intense, I should say, and so therefore it's one of those things to me where I think when there's smoke, there's fire. And I don't mean that in a, as a pun, doom.
He meant that. He meant that way, people. He did.
No. Anyway, no.
Zaire's like, it's smoking. It's smoking.
I be smoking.
The way he said it all smooth like that, he meant it as a pun. I'm sure.
No, I've been just listening. I feel like I'm a lawyer now from all the hearing stuff I've been listening to.
You too cut as well, man.
Yeah, you could be on Twitter, be an objection on Twitter.
Absolutely. I mean, the efficient data and the possibilities, because it seems like if these PlayStations keep getting hot, then Sony might be in a foreclosure. But regardless, let's move from.
Are you unanimous on that?
I don't have the data. No, my God. I don't have the sufficient data.
But do all the publishers agree with you?
Oh man,
no, man.
Do all the publishers agree with you though?
No, they do not. But we are trying to fight for the consumers. This is what we're here for. Anyway,
we're fighting for that.
We're fighting for our damn lives right now. Shout out to the FTC. But anyway. But I know we're going to be talking about that later, but I think, it just goes to that. Like, when it first got shown, and you've seen that it was kind of cheap, it was cheaply made, the cooling issue, the heat sink issue and all that. So you thought that might change, and it could have changed and gotten better for the newer PlayStation models. But remember, this was something that I brought up a while back. And I said, is the PlayStation 5, and of course it got hated on, of course, and I got called everything other than the mother of God or the father of God, a child of God or whatever. But I was saying, like, will the PlayStation 5, the original one that dropped day one, will it last, especially if this is going to be a very long console generation? And if you start having these problems with a game that, Final Fantasy 16 looks beautiful. But we're just now starting the year where games are only going to be on PlayStation 5 and on Xbox Series X. And S. So that's telling. So for any game that's going to be that's going to be pushing the PlayStation 5 to the limit, that might be a concern. That's just a real fact. And now, of course, we've seen enough of them to know that it's happening, because they showed a lot of them when it happened with Demon Souls. I don't know, man. I would, if I have a PlayStation and if I have any inkling that I'm having any issues like that, I would trade in and get the other model. I would trade my regular PlayStation 5 that I bought day one and trade it in for a newer model, because I think that was the reason why they made the newer model, is because of that very reason.
You know what's crazy? Crazy, K-Mega? This is like, as we're talking, I'm thinking this, and I'm gonna throw it out there. Let me know how you feel about what I'm throwing out there. Right. From hearing all this, you're bringing it back to Demon Souls, which we all know that was an exclusive, but that was an exclusive where, again, the structure was from a previous generation game, right? I feel like Sony, when making the PS5, they strictly looked at it as an exclusive machine. You know what I'm saying? Where the people under their umbrella, their first party, their Naughty Dogs, all that stuff, they knew how to kind of like get the most out of the machine. But now you're putting it out there to third parties that are signing deals for exclusive games, but I don't think that they have the same knowledge that the first part. I feel like they made this to really just show off their Last of Us and their horizons and stuff like that, and just kind of the other developers, hey, just kind of, you know, catch up that way. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you know, I mean, you're right. Listen, the way that PlayStation makes their first-party games is like no other. It's almost unmatched in some cases. I mean, Xbox has to really, you got to look at the Xbox top tier in order for it to even be comparable. And then sometimes, especially last gen, it just didn't compare. A couple of games definitely did, but not all of Xbox first party. So, like, you know, that Decima engine is a beast. And those devs know how to work it. So yeah, you could be right on that, because if these devs is working on it, and especially if they're making these deals, it's the more and more that I'm listening to the case and hearing the more ins and outs of what goes on in the industry, like it's a lot of crazy stuff. So when they make these deals, they're usually kind of, you know, not, you know, maybe a couple of years in development. Sometimes it might be last minute, you know, so those devs has probably already been working on two different things, two different SKUs. And then when they get, when they find out that, well, no, the plans have changed, you only work primarily on the PlayStation. Well, they've already, if they had that time, instead of working on those other SKUs for other platforms, then they probably would have had and just only worked on the PlayStation, then that might help. But again, going to me saying that, I mean, I'm believing that Final Fantasy 16 was exclusively made for the PlayStation 5. And so it might be just up to the developers themselves, because like you said, they're not first party. You know, you would think Sony would have enough, Square Enix would have enough knowledge because of how many games that they've been putting on PlayStation, but it could be just a dev or a console failure thing. Like, I mean, the PlayStation, when people looked at that thing, people was expecting sleek, you know, something looked more high tech. And then when it was revealed, I mean, there was even PlayStation gamers that was looking like, man. And then when they found out how big it was, and then just how it all was just put together, it just didn't seem like it. And especially like when you had to put in your M.2s, like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? That is one of the most funkiest things that I've ever seen on putting something. You have to detach something, move something around, screw this out of the way just to put that in. And then all of those components that you had to put in there, and then put it all back together, and people was breaking their blades and all, I don't know. It's just a lot of crazy shit. But yeah, no, I think it could be just more of this, instead of me going back, I'm going to revert to all that shit that I said and just go to, I think that it's the hardware itself and how it was built, and I think that is the biggest problem, not so much the devs and all that.
Dude, I'm actually surprised, because again, you know, going back to the beginning of this generation, I distinctly remember Sony saying that, you know, for each game they're gonna clock the GPU for each game, like each game is gonna have its own setting. And I'm surprised we haven't really gotten, like, this is all we've gotten so far.
But they changed up. The PlayStation 5 is not overclocked. I remember that was the whole thing, was that this console was overclocked. It's not overclocked. So that was my first initial thought.
Oh, so they reversed that whole process?
They reversed that whole process.
I did not know that. Oh, shit.
Yeah. I found that out this week when me and him was doing a podcast, and Don came in there and said it's not overclocked. And I was like, no, that's not true, because I seen it. I know that they talked about it like crazy all through when it released, and then when I went and checked it myself, I was like, oh yeah, they changed it up. They do not overclock anymore, because that was going to be the thing. That was my point with what I was saying. What I'm sure that you was going to say was that the overclocking process over time, that wears whatever device down. And so that's why I never overclock. I mean, my hard drive, I mean, not hard drive, but my GPU is meant to be overclocked. I'm not doing that. I paid too much money for that damn thing to go out in a couple of years. That shit's gonna last damn near to the end of time, as how I see it. It's gonna purr like a kitten. I ain't turning nothing up. So I think that's what I thought with the PlayStation 5, that was what they were doing, and that's why they're having these issues. And so, you know, the life cycle for a PlayStation 5, I'm thinking was maybe 3 to 4 years. But since they reverted that, and I think smartly, because that would have added more problems, on top of this, but I'm thinking it's just the hardware itself with the liquid cooling, and then just it might not just can handle demands like that. I mean, it might just be getting exposed.
All right. Well, Mega, you said that you kind of looked up that whole thing. So if you can share something in the DM at some point in time, talking about like the overclock and kind of like reversing that whole thing, I would really, really appreciate it, because that right there is fascinating, and that kind of destroys like my route with the whole overheating aspect. So with that being the case, let's bring in our resident pony. Mr. Dark Optimus, who has been playing Final Fantasy on his PS5. And I gotta ask, Dark, how's your PS5 doing, man? Is there any hiccups, any stress? Is it getting headaches? What's going on, bro?
No, not at all. I don't play my PS5 for very long anyways. And plus, I also keep it in a cool area. So that's what I do with every single console.
He puts it in his refrigerator, people.
Every single console I have, even a Switch, I keep it in a cool area. So then, just in case, because I know these things, they overheat, they do this, they do that. You know, I know that these things are gonna do what they're gonna do when it comes down to, you know, hardware and stuff. So I know that you know, I can't keep it in a really, you know, closed cabinet or anything like that. Now, is that the real issue? Probably not. More than likely, it's an internal issue with the, you know, with the heat sinks and stuff like that, and then the liquid metal that they use in the console. You know, and to say I'm not having any issues doesn't mean that nobody else is having issues. That mean, you know, we clearly have seen that other people are having issues with that. You know, and I really don't know what to say to them, you know, except, you know, try to figure out a way to put your console in a cooler spot, maybe, or, you know, try to figure out, you know, some way to kind of do certain things to keep it from overheating. You know, I you know, there's just, you know, every console can do it. I mean, not even, you know, but of course, you know, PlayStation is the one that's really getting hit by it right now, because let's be honest, Final Fantasy 16 is a very graphic heavy, demanding game. It very much is. I mean, it's probably the best looking game I've seen since Demon Souls, since the launch.
I'll say it's most likely it's the best looking Square game I've seen.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh,
no
for
doubt.
sure.
No doubt.
Absolutely. On the PlayStation 5, it is
even
very
better
demanding.
looking than what you call it? Guardians of the Galaxy?
Oh yeah, it's better looking than that. Yeah, for sure.
Really? Okay.
I would say
if you're gonna take art style, you know, like if we're gonna go like by art style, of course Guardians is a little bit more, you know.
Well, art style is very subjective anyway, man.
Different,
some art styles you like, some you don't.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
I would say in terms of the scope graphically, like seeing everything in the distance and how massive it is and stuff like that, I would give the edge to Square on that one with Final Fantasy in comparison.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a huge scope or anything. I think that's why they've kind of made it more linear and stuff. But, you know, I think personally, yeah, it's definitely a graphic heavy, effect heavy type of game, because there's a lot of effects going on when you're fighting in the field, you know, when there's a lot of ching 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 ching, you know, like you know, with swords and stuff that are, you know, and then you see the sparks coming off of the sword, and
it's so racist of you to do that.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I was like, yo, is that racist? Like, I was just wondering.
No.
There's a lot of chinging going on.
Let's not go
man.
there. Let's
I
not
was thinking the same
there.
thing, but I was like, I'm gonna keep that quiet.
Let's not go there. Come on now. You guys know better
Simmer
than that.
down now. Everybody just simmer down now.
All right.
Yeah.
No. It was, you know, because you see a lot of the sparks coming off the weapons. You see a lot of, you know, there's a lot of things going on with the monsters in the game, you know, with the icons in the game. I mean, there's just this is definitely a demanding type of game. And honestly,
was that sound effect again? Can you give that sound effect more time?
Nope, I am
doing the same thing.
You just keep hearing it in your head, right? You just keep ching 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 ching.
Get out of here. Stop it. Stop it. You guys are fools today. But yeah, I think
It's been one of those weeks, man.
I think a lot of people are just having issues, and that sucks. I mean, these PlayStation's got to figure it out. Be honest.
Yo, and again, if they are overclocking, and shout out to K Mega, I'm gonna click on that and check it out. But this just instantly brought me back to, every game we're gonna have to go in and clock the GPU for every game, and I'm like, that doesn't sound too.
Well, that doesn't sound efficient at all.
No,
that
not at all.
Sound like it's efficient at all. So, but I don't even know why they even thought of doing that at all.
Because they were trying to get the most juice out of their chipset that they could, because they weren't the most powerful system. That's why.
It's because they heard what Xbox is pushing out there, and they wanted to beat them. Of course, that's their competition.
Ooh, nice. And you're giving me a segue right now. You do realize that?
Yeah.
All right, man. Speaking of that, before we get into that, shout out to Sir X-Man hitting up that super chat. Thank you so much, brother, for the support. He says, "Wow, I'm late because I didn't know it was today." Yeah, bro. I know. We weren't here the last couple weeks. I already threw out that apology, but you were too late to hear it. So you're going to have to go back and check it out.
He comes in here like he owns the freaking podcast.
He's like, it's my show. He's like, where was my show been? But shout out to you, brother. Thank you so much, man. But talking about competition, let's get into it, because the FTC is in court right now, with Microsoft over the whole Activision Blizzard deal, and we've been off for a couple weeks. There have been a lot of developments, a lot of discovery, man. A lot of stuff that we didn't know was going on, and it's crazy how this court case is just putting business practices like right out there for everybody to see. So for anybody who didn't think this industry was cutthroat, you can just go through this information and see like what's going on with this case. But I'm gonna go across the panel. I wanna ask you guys, what is kind of like the most like amazing kind of like revelation so far from this court case and what's going on with the Activision Blizzard deal. And I'm gonna start with Pred on this one. Pred, with everything going on, all the stuff that's been said, all the discovery within this court case, what do you think is the most like astonishing kind of like revelation so far, and why, man? You got to explain yourself. You can't just say this and just kind of pass it on. You got to let me know why, man.
So I've never listened to these court hearings before. I've always just kind of read, throughout this whole, especially with the CMA stuff. I don't even think we had an opportunity to actually hear it. But with the FTC stuff, we actually could hear. We had people putting streams up and stuff like that. One of the most astonishing things to me is how stupid the FTC sounds. Just like with their, I won't say stupid because they're probably intelligent people, but like when they're presenting, they're not stupid. It's
how about how unorganized, maybe?
That, and I would say, okay, so like and this is what I joke about this with some of my friends in the military and stuff like that. Like we typically in the military, just the government in general, we lowest bidder, we buy you, and it's like the lawyers they pick for the FTC. Again, the guy is really smart, but he's not the smartest of the people, like the Microsoft people. And so, like, when they presented something, like all of them, not just the guy that spoke today, but like all of them and the guy today was actually not bad compared to the other ones I've listened to this week. He was actually better than the other ones.
I heard there was some points made on the FTC side, but I also heard that they fumbled whatever point by the end of it anyway.
Yeah. And so, like, I listened to this through the week, the ones that I was able to listen to, like, they would come with points, but they couldn't really hammer home the point, or they would ask questions that, because I think the lady was doing it last week, she'd be like, asking, like, the dumbest questions, like, it's, like, obvious. So your name is Phil Spencer, right? Yes. You work for Microsoft, right? Yes. Like, and you're like, you wasted 30 minutes of our time asking questions that everybody knows already, and then and the way they were trying to present it was like they would ask those questions and then they would like kind of skirt around to another question and then come back to a previous question and then try to catch them off guard. I'm like, that tactic has never worked. Like this.
I mean, but that is a typical court tactic, though. They do, they
like,
do that a
They
lot.
try to catch you fumbling line or something like that. And so, like, it just. But the Microsoft lawyers would go in there and they were just like, it's like watching American soccer versus Brazilian soccer. Like the Americans, like they'll get the job done. But the Brazilians, it should look so finesse, and so like
they're not even trying. They're scoring like with their eyes closed and
like,
shit. Yeah,
they were on it. They were on point, and it's like I'm like, who picked these lawyers? Like, so I'm just like, man, these questions are like they were so boring in some parts. I was like, just get to your point of the question already. Like, why are you asking this question? And then they'd be like, we'll go to PX 3063, page 16, paragraph 5. And read that. Could you read that, please? And they read it, and then be like, so that's not what you said before. And then the guy would be like, that's literally what I just told you 5 minutes ago. Who's picking these lawyers? So like, I would like that. That's one. I thought that the lawyers here for the FTC would like literally come up with a lot better arguments and present a lot better discussions that we've never seen or heard already from like the CMA or other places when they were brought to court and like asked specific, like it's like some of the questions they asked the data and God I said data the information was already out there for them but yet they're presenting it to the lawyer to the judge as if like that stuff wasn't out there already like the judge can't read like I just like their intelligence in the way they presented their case to me. And again, I'm pro Microsoft in this aspect, but like they didn't do themselves any favor this week. I thought that I thought they lost the case every time they talked. Like everything they brought up to the table was just like an L for them. They made a few points, but like nothing that would stick. But like for some strange reason, for whatever reason, I know this is like part of the question. I have a feeling that the FTC is gonna fuck Microsoft over anyway.
You do think so, huh?
I think they'll find a way. Like there'll be like one little key point. They didn't have enough information on this, and that will be like it'll be like, and then we'll have to go to some appeal. And it's gonna drag this out because like it's like I said, it's like watching the OJ trial. Like you were never interested in watching a court hearing before until that happened, and now they're getting publicity for it. But the judge did an awesome job. She asked a lot of that's the other point too. Like the judge, who may or may not have known anything about gaming before all of this started, was literally asking questions that we are asking. Like when I would say something, like I was watching the stream, and I would say something in chat, and then the judge would literally bring it right after I would say it. I'm like, she's on it. She knows what she's asking. Like she knew. Like it's like even if she was never a gamer before her life, she knew what questions to ask.
It's like she did some homework before the court case. It's weird.
Oh my God! Unlike some of the people that were there, like she was asking questions that were like we would ask, or she came up with points that I guess like some of the stuff that she brought up was stuff that we knew already as gamers. That if you never played a video game before in your life, you would never think to ask. And she was asking those questions. And it was all pro. It seemed like it was all pro Microsoft though. So like the question she was asking was like, so how is this hurting Sony? Or even at one point she was like, this has nothing to do with Sony. This has to do with the consumers.
Yeah.
But then they'll bring something up about Sony, and then she's like, okay, so how is this hurting competition? Because I'm listening to Microsoft's testimony, and they're literally saying they're going to do this, and it's just like for her to have that mindset to go in, like you said, maybe research or look things up and do some studying and stuff like that, to know to ask those questions, like because some of that stuff right there, like I guess in the mindset of some of the FTC lawyers, they figured like they'd never dig this deep in this information. They never asked these questions. And this judge actually did. Mm-hmm. She did ask those questions. She asked the tough questions, to both lawyers, Microsoft and the FTC. But one, you can tell one side was ready, the other side wasn't. It was clear as day who had the advantage going into court on all the days. Because Microsoft had an answer for everything, and even when they didn't have it, even if they got thrown a curveball, they had an answer for it. Like they were prepared. Like they would throw stuff out there, and they the lawyers from Microsoft would be like they'd ask the guys from the FTC a question, and they'd be like, well, we don't have that data, we don't know where it's at. Like,
you'd be like, we got it right here.
They would just fumble around the answer, and then the lawyers from Microsoft would step in and be like, yeah, it's on PX 1369, page 13, paragraph 6, section 3, and like they had their shit together.
Yeah,
and it's like you're dealing with like AAA baseball players in the fucking World Series, fucking pitcher. It's like it was the way the lawyers. I was just surprised that the FTC lawyers were not better at their job than what what the. And it's funny because like the guy brought up a court case in there. Actually, Microsoft did, and they were like, I don't know what company it was. It was like I don't know, fucking Jergens versus
in the
US
terms of the agreements, the judge actually being able to use the agreements in weighing in on the decision.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
and so the Microsoft lawyer brought up a case, and then she asked the FTC lawyer, he's like, "Are you familiar with that?" And he's like, "Yeah, I worked that case." And it was one he lost. So I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, I remember that one.
She's like, oh wow, yeah. So like, I mean, there was a lot of stuff. Like it was like just listening to it. It was like some of it was just comic relief. I almost feel like the judge was a lot of that was her siding with Microsoft. It seemed like to me, just like her demeanor and the questions she was asking. She was trying to understand why the FTC was actually in court trying to block the deal. Mm. And it didn't seem like the FTC really presented a good enough case to her. And that's why she kept asking, so why this? Why that? Why didn't you do this? Or why wasn't this done? Or why can't this happen? And stuff like that. How is this affecting the competition? Because I've heard testimony. Like she was asking the right questions, and she was, I think her concern, if Microsoft wins this case, it's going to be because they didn't do a good job presenting their defense. Mm. And then even though like I think part of it was like Microsoft they made some deals after the fact, but she's like, but isn't that inciting competition, which is exactly why we're here today? And the guy was like, well, I'm just here because I'm paid to be here.
Nah, he really said something like that. Like
he legit said that. He said, I'm just here because this is my job and I'm paid to be here. I was word for word what I just said. Like he literally said that. I don't want to be here.
Believe in his own court case, man. Like that's like, bad, yo. That's bad.
Like his job is to defend it, but like he didn't have a choice because he had to. Yeah. And it's like
I'm getting a paycheck, man. I gotta make a living.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even joking when I said I almost word for word the way I just said it. He literally said, "I'm just here because I have to be."
That's insane.
And this is my job.
Yo, Pred, real quick, a couple things I wanted to take off what you said. First off, I've seen a lot of people making fun of the FTC lawyers, and there's a lot of unorganization and stuff like that from what I've seen. But I also think this is a great example of what a $1 trillion company can do with their money in terms of their lawyers, as opposed to a department of the government and what they can do when it comes to lawyers. Like you got to realize the $1 trillion company is gonna have all the talent when it comes to the lawyer set.
Yeah, they're going to pay the experts too. Yeah, they're going to pay. They're going to shell out big money because at the end of the day, the government, we're salary based.
Yes,
we're going to get our paycheck regardless. But those lawyers from Microsoft, they're going for the cream of the crop. They have the option to pick who they want. The government sector, they have to deal with who they got already on the table.
Exactly.
So the Microsoft lawyers, like I said, they can go out, they can hire 100 lawyers. Mm-hmm. And the FTC, they only got what the budget allows.
Yo, for real. And then when it comes to that, they have like their stable of lawyers as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, and there's name and recognition in those positions, but that's about it. There's not like a ton of money the way you see on the other side at the other table. But another thing I will say, real quick, is I am absolutely comfortable with this lawyer. with this judge, from what I've seen. So whatever she decides, like, I'm not going to go out there and be like, yo, that's bullshit or anything, because of what you said in terms of her asking the questions, really seeming like, you know, she has a better understanding of the industry more than the FTC does at this point in time. So whatever ruling she does make, I'm comfortable with that, man. Are you getting the same thing on your side, Pred?
I just want to, if she rules against it, I want to see
why.
I want to hear why. Like what, like, because again, I think it's going to be, if she rules against it, it's going to be because of like one little small, minute detail. You know, like,
dude, that's another thing in court. You could be winning a case. You can pick the wrong word on one sentence, and you can fuck it all up for yourself, man.
Yeah, and I think, and that's what I'm afraid of. Like they only have to, like, the government only has to present a small portion. The burden of proof is really on Microsoft. Like, they're the ones trying to buy everything. So like,
hold on. I don't think the burden of proof is the burden of proof. I think the burden of proof is on the FTC because they're the ones that brought it to court.
Let me finish what I was saying.
Okay.
So yes, they have the burden of proof on proving that you know it's a consumer friendly deal, or should I say not a consumer friendly deal, falls on the FTC. But Microsoft still has to defend that it is a consumer friendly deal.
Right. Yeah.
So,
right. And
so
that's
if they can come up with just 1 point that proves it's not a consumer-friendly deal, and keep in mind, you got to deal with cloud, you got to deal with consoles, and I think they brought one other thing up too, cloud consoles and
Game Pass
subscriptions,
right?
Yeah.
So the subscription service. So they can prove any one of those three. It's bad for competition, and they could actually win. Like the UK did. They proved, like, you know, I guess the way they won it was because they proved that cloud was a competition, and it wasn't in the best suit for everybody, even though it was stupid, you know, but that's what they went with. But they won that way, and that's how they pushed it. And if they can prove that in the States, well, I don't think the States will play that, but all I gotta do is prove one of those three is bad for competition, them having this deal. Because they kept trying to pull in, you know, other games and stuff like that, and the judge was like, look, this is really just about Call of Duty. You know, and that she really came out. That's what she said. This is like, I understand there's other games out there, but this is just about Call of Duty. And then the FTC was like, well, they have Diablo, and then Microsoft's lawyers like, well, we have Minecraft. That's everywhere, you know. And I think one of the testimonies today was like, earlier in the day, they had said that Minecraft actually makes twice as much on PlayStation.
Has twice as many gamers playing the game.
No. He said they said financially, it makes twice as much on PlayStation than it does on Xbox, and 4 times as much on Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
Than it does on, and they didn't even talk about PC. I didn't even think about that. But that's the data they gave. And so when they were trying to argue about certain things, Microsoft lawyers like, well, we just kind of, I guess the judge was asking the question, like, to the Microsoft lawyers, like, where's the data showing that that Call of Duty would still, was it still, or what, either still be successful or not, but whatever it was, she said. And she's like, we didn't need data. We have Minecraft for that. We can show that data from Minecraft showing that, you know, that this game's going to be, and she's like, well, and the FTC lawyer's like, yeah, but we don't have that data. You didn't show that to us. And she's like, why would we need to show you that if having something on something that it's not on in the first place, wouldn't that just naturally be an upswing? It's just normal. It's so many, there's more subscribers, like, we're third. Sony and Nintendo first and second, and if we put a game on a console platform that's first, that's not even there, that's obviously going to present profits for us, because people are going to buy that game there because it's not there now. There's not a zero there. If one person buys it, it's a profit. Right now, when there's zero on there at all, I'm like, why did this guy just ask this question? I don't know, like. The whole it's just pure entertainment to me, because I'm just laughing about some of the points and the arguments they're trying to bring up, and I'm just like, oh my god, I can't believe he just asked this question, or I can't believe he just said it's his job, he has to be here. Like, every now and then they would throw us a fucking zinger.
Yeah, that's not very professional, man. That's my job.
Well, the judge would ask a question that was like, I was just completely not expecting her to ask it. I'm like, that's a good fucking question. It's almost like she was fucking defending the case. Like, oh, shit. So I think the deal's gonna go through, but I also am afraid that like it will be some small, like you said a minute ago, some small
Just that one word, that one little word, fucks it all up, man.
That kills it. So if she doesn't, like you were saying, like you asked the question, like would I feel bad? I just want to see if it's not. I think it will go through, but if it's not, I want to see the judge. I want to hear why.
Well, yeah, like she'll explain why.
Yeah, she has to.
Yeah.
But I think that's going to be the really important thing. Like, if it didn't go through, why? What was your justification not letting this go through? Because it better be something significant.
I don't know.
It can't just be like,
again, with everything that she has said and stuff like that throughout this hearing, though, I mean, it does look like, she has a brain. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
I feel confident
I'm comfortable.
That she's going to. Yeah. Like, I mean, I feel like she's asking the right question because she's like, obviously invested in wanting to know certain things. So, if this would have been like, I don't know. I mean, I could think like there are some points in there where they're like, well, Jim Ryan said it, so it's got to be true. That's the way that the FTC came at the judge, and like she would ask more in-depth questions, and she was like, like the first half of their whole thing today, like she cut them off and started asking questions, and so that right there lets me know that she's invested in this, and she kind of wants to make sure that she makes the right decision because she's taking the time to study. So like I will give her kudos for that aspect of it because some people, I mean, it's her job obviously, but I feel confident enough that she's got at least enough information to make a sound decision. I'll put it that way. Nice. She doesn't seem like a dumbass sitting up there.
That right there is why, like, I feel comfortable in terms of like you're not dealing with somebody that has. Well, what's the game like? Were you talking about Super Mario? Like, nobody that's absolutely clueless
There was plenty of people that was like that though. So.
But but not the judge, not the one that you know what I'm saying, not the one that's going to decide the thing.
At first, she was, I've been listening all the way through.
Okay, but, all right. Well, and if that's the case, then I'm glad she actually, when she went home, like, oh shit, I really got to learn about this.
Like Pred said, like she got invested, and she's doing her job.
Nice. Let's see. Dark's been quiet, man. Let's get Dark in on this now. Dark, I'm not sure how much you've been following. I know you've seen some stuff on Twitter and everything. From what you've seen, all that. What's your kind of like most astonishing revelation so far with the information that's come out in this case?
How dumb the FTC sounds.
Damn, he's going right with Predator on this one. He's like, I'm in the same boat.
As from what I know of, from what I've seen on Twitter, that's all I can go by. I haven't watched any of the court case or anything like that. I don't have time for it. I don't care about it. It's not.
You're not a Law and Order fan. You don't like those.
I'm definitely not.
We can tell Pred is. We can tell Pred loves that Law and Order, man.
Yeah, no, I've never been into that kind of stuff. So it was just kind of like, okay, like. That's fine, I was just waiting for it to end to see what the verdict is, to be honest. But from what it sounds like the FTC needs to go back to school and learn some law, maybe. I don't know. I mean that's from what I've seen, like that's all I can say, But
that's
I think the judge is doing her job and what she needs to do, and and whatever the outcome is, people should just be okay with it because that's the outcome. It's not going to change. I mean, they could try to appeal it, but you know how long that takes. That's going to take years to even get that through. So
this whole deal rests on this case, dude. If this case doesn't go through, the deal's done. It's not going.
There's no like appeal.
No, that's it.
No, this is it, bro.
Okay, if this is it, then people better get their wallets ready to buy an Xbox or
shit.
Just deal without it. I mean, I don't know what to tell you guys.
I think they're getting their wallets ready for Starfield, to be honest with you, man, because like every day that passes, Starfield's hype is just getting bigger, and I swear, I know for me, I cannot wait to play that game. Yeah, can't wait.
Yeah, I know, because you're a huge sci-fi guy, so
yes,
I understand that.
Yes,
for sure.
It's like steampunk and NASA is like the art style from what they said.
Yeah.
It is so up my alley, bro. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's definitely up your alley. But yeah, I think the FTC is just, I don't know if they just were like, oh, Xbox isn't going to be prepared, or Microsoft's not going to be prepared, so why should we? That's what it sounds like from what I'm hearing from Fred, what he's saying, and from what everybody else is saying. It sounds like they were just like, we're not going to be prepared for it. We'll just go into it.
I am so glad you brought that up, because I think it was CBS or CNN. They were talking about this, one of the business shows. And one of the guys,
CNBC.
One of the guys was CNBC. Yeah, he was like, well, the people at the FTC was like, well, even if we lose the case, it's a win, because what all they're trying to do, they're not even necessarily trying to win. They're just trying to mess everything up in terms of like the date, the cutoff date, and stuff like that. They're trying to muddy everything. I believe as it was described on the show, he was like, that's a win for them, because now there are CEOs saying, yeah, we would acquire such and such company, but we don't want to deal with the headache. Like, we don't want to go in and buy, because like we know the FTC is just gonna try to pull every single string. You know what I'm saying? To try to get in our way. Like, that's what they're trying to do.
Well, one thing that may come out of this case that might hinder, Microsoft in any way would be that if they do get ABK, they might not be able to get like a big publisher for a while, or something like that.
You know what's funny about that, though? Funny? If you look at the percentage of the industry that would be owned by Microsoft after this acquisition, if it goes through, they're still so far away from 50%. Like, they can still buy more, bro.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it just depends on what, what they
they try to buy EA. I'm pretty sure people are going to step in the way.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Something like that. Yeah. Like it would have to be something along those lines for them to really be like, okay, well, they might even, like the FTC might even want to look into that after this whole thing. I mean, I don't know why they would. It doesn't sound like they have pretty much of a case with Activision, but it's interesting. I mean, here's the thing: like, if you care about Call of Duty and you want Call of Duty to thrive and survive and stuff like that, and you are really invested in Activision and what they're doing over there, and Microsoft wins the case, get a PC or play it on Xbox. I mean, I don't know what to tell you unless they come up with some certain deal with PlayStation to put those games on PlayStation, then you're shit out of luck. I mean, I don't know what what are you gonna do? Just sit there and bitch and moan about it all day, or are you just gonna bite the bullet and actually buy a console or get a PC?
That's an interesting thought too. You said that because I know Microsoft offered to put Call of Duty on Sony,
right?
But if the FTC realizes, they come back and they say, okay, there's no, they say, hey, you know what, the deal was offered to Sony, they denied it. Microsoft doesn't have any obligation to put this game on Sony now that we've approved this, so they may not put, even though I know it's in their, like Microsoft said, it's in their best interest to put that on the PlayStation, and I think they would still do it. But like, I don't know if they're obligated to have to do it now, just based off the rule.
They won't.
They wouldn't be. They wouldn't be. And the thing is they're not even obligated to make it optimized for the PlayStation at that point either. So, if you want the best version of Call of Duty, you're gonna have to play it on PC, or you're gonna have to play it on Xbox.
Or Switch. Or Switch on the
Switch,
video.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know why anybody would want to play that on Switch, but
hey, some people only have a Switch, okay?
Right on Switch. I mean,
if you heard all the information about Switch is doing really well.
Wait until you see the Mario Brothers.
Really well.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying like in
skins
terms
for the
games
guns
and stuff. I mean, like in terms of their online and stuff. It's not very plausible. For
I'm gonna ask a question after K Mega goes. I want to see if I'll wait till K Mega goes.
You know what's funny? So far, nobody has brought up what I think was the most revealing thing in the court case. This is good.
We can't read your mind.
Can't read your fucking mind.
Well, I mean, there's main points. There's main points through the whole thing, and it's just nobody has covered one of the main points, which I think is really interesting. So let's get to K Mega on this one. Mega, the most astonishing revelation so far when it comes to the FTC.
It's more than one.
No, you have to give one. The most astonishing, man.
No, I'm going to give you more than one.
You can't do that because then you're going to... Dude, the first one is yours, and if you take mine on the second one, that was mine. All right? I'm just
why don't you just do yours?
My biggest revelation was what Xbox was planning in terms of acquisitions. Like the list of studios and publishers that they had on their list. And remember when we were talking about Sega... When they came out with the controllers, they came out with the blue that was literally the color of Sonic the Hedgehog. They came out with the red, which everybody said Knuckles.
Knuckles and then Tails,
Dude, like how close do you think they were to grabbing Sega? And
they
dude,
were right
I hope they go back to that, man. I really do.
If this deal don't go through, I think it's going to be a no-brainer.
No, I think if it does go through, I still think they should go for it because they would still be within the realm.
They would have to wait a while. They would have to wait a while.
But hold on, real quick. Yo, shout out to Sir X-Man hitting up that super chat one more time. And he said this. He says, he's going to say it again. Sony is on business welfare. Bro, Sony, PlayStation, not so much.
That's not a thing though. So that's not an actual thing in business. Like it's
no, it's not.
They either go bankrupt or they're in the red or whatever.
I don't know. A lot of companies, they do depend on loans though. They get a lot of loans.
It depends. It depends on the company.
There's ways to survive.
Almost every company survives on loans for the most part. Yeah.
But so like that whole thing in terms of the acquisitions and stuff like that, the studios that they were looking at, and I'll say this right now, K Vega, the fucking hypocrites out there on Twitter that were getting so pissed off on Xbox's plans of acquiring studios or publishers because they have the bloody money to do so, in kind of like a counter action to what Sony was doing, buying up IP, buying exclusivity to whether it's the Final Fantasies, the Street Fighters, going back into the PS4 and stuff like that. There was no problem then. No problem, even though they were strategically taking away key franchises for certain IP. Like you talk about fighters. Of course, you're going to talk about Mortal Kombat and then what? Street Fighter. Now, Street Fighter is not on Xbox, but Mortal Kombat is. But you look at PlayStation, they got both of them over there, and you're a fighter. You're going to buy a PlayStation because of that. And that's exactly what Sony was planning on doing. They were grabbing like key titles in specific genres and keeping them off Xbox, so this way people don't pick Xbox. It's okay for them to do that, but Microsoft can't buy publishers, bro. Huh?
I said companies do what they have to do to survive, and that's what it is. Like they want to crush another company, they will.
Dude, if PlayStation had the wallet, they would be buying publishers as well.
Well, they don't have the money.
They don't have. Well, but they don't have to either.
That's true.
Because look, I'll wait till my turn.
No, I got
it's
you.
It's more
man,
than one thing that's fascinating to me.
That was the biggest thing, and then to see, fucking MBG out there, fucking hypocrite, yo, fucking hypocrite, man.
What did he say,
dude? He was talking about how wrong it was for Xbox to go out there and try to plan and like basically that they were just gonna try to build a monopoly Like that was their whole goal, and how wrong it is for them to go out and buy the publishers and have games away from PlayStation and stuff, but not even mentioning what the hell PlayStation's been doing in terms of the games for multiple generations now. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit.
That's the thing. He doesn't understand that a monopoly can't ever happen in this country. That's the one thing he doesn't understand. So, you know, I don't know where
they'll nip that shit before it gets anywhere near 50%.
Yeah, they will nip that shit so quick it's not even funny. Like they will be like, absolutely not.
But it's insane to me that how people can light their torches, grab their pitchforks over Xbox, but PlayStation's been down and dirty for years now. But that's all right. That's cool,
bro. It's because they all think that they're freaking smart business people. That's what they think. They think they're smart business people. They never even went to a damn class for business for anything that has to do with business at all. They have no clue at all what it takes, what it entails with the company or anything.
It's okay, Dark, because all publishers hate Game Pass.
Hey, listen, is that 100%?
Yeah.
Is that 100%?
No, it's unanimous.
Is that unanimous?
It's not 100%. It's unanimous. Okay.
It's unanimous. It's 110%.
That's sufficient data.
That's sufficient data. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, Mega. All right. I was able to clear. I hope that wasn't one of yours, man. But that was definitely one of mine because to see the list, I was
close
just like,
to
wow.
it, but I wasn't gonna. But that wasn't gonna be the first one.
All right, man, you got the mic, bro. Mega, it's your turn.
Yeah, the first one, and this was something that was really light, but it blew my mind because I was like, holy shit, really? Was Halo. Like the whole, their content creators has been absolutely, completely just, especially the ones that oppose Xbox the way that they do. They have taken so many L's during this hearing. I don't even want it. I mean, for you even saying anything, people should look at you crossways. For saying that Halo is just dead and finished and out the water, big Halo Infinite, the biggest and highest player count in Halo history ever.
Have you played it recently? Have you played it recently?
No, I've heard really good things.
Dude, the ranking system and everything.
I know they got a Halo 5 map on there, but yeah. But no,
that's K-Mega's favorite game.
Yeah, but that blew my mind. Like, what? Really? Like, holy shit. I know that it did well in the beginning, but biggest Halo launch ever. Like players playing, jumping on that game, playing ever. And remember when we was talking about how when they put that with Game Pass and then put that on PC as well, that it was going to cook? That shit was cooking. It's just, of course,
content.
The content. So that whole shit that Halo is dead, people still wait for Halo. People still want it. And you know what I'm saying? And I can't wait to
it feels good now, man.
Tomorrow on GRG, because me and Ham and Matt was having some deep conversations talking about Halo, and it's just not the same. Yeah, whatever. Okay, but moving on. The experts. They're all about the data, but I swear, and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but I'm going to say it in a disrespectful way. They are some of the most dumbest motherfuckers I've ever heard, ever. They are absolutely asinine to anything else other than
you have the data to prove this, sir.
Their data. That's it.
We all three kind of agree about the same fucking thing. The experts are fucking dumbasses.
Bro, the experts, even the Microsoft experts got cooked. Okay, the first couple of days, like the first 4 days, Xbox was cooking. I mean, it was awful. It was like, oh, this is a landslide. But there was two people, one person in particular that I was really anticipating to listen to their testimony. I was saying that they were going to be a wild card, and that was Bobby Kotick. And of course, Bobby Kotick was a goddamn wild card, and he might lose this because of his dumbass comments yesterday. And then because
he's got to be truthful though. If he thinks Game Pass isn't a good model, he's got to say it in court.
But see again, no, he didn't have to say that. He didn't have to say it.
They asked him.
They asked him, but all he had to say was like, I don't really care about it either way. He could have worded it so differently than him being arrogant and talking about how he didn't like.
Dude, this is a man that flashes his dick at secretaries. Like he's not going to be.
And I know he liked titty milk, but the problem is that
he's in that frat boy mentality, man.
Right, and his dumb ass is going. There's the possibility. It's not a landslide win for Microsoft. There's no question. But you know what I'm saying? But I mean, it looks favorable for Microsoft, very much so. But because of Bobby Kotick, because that's what the FTC kept using, that gave the judge to ask those questions on Microsoft's side, and the fact that and the one Microsoft, not the girl named Amy, she was amazing. I mean, or was her name Amy or Beth or something? I forgot what her name was already, but she was amazing. It was the dude. And I'm sitting here like, yo, bro, because they got to tell you how much they made. Dude made $1,200. No. He made, I forgot how much an hour, but he made over 1.2. The analyst. He made over $1.2 million. And he got cooked by the FTC. So that's what I'm trying to say. Like the FTC, they were getting destroyed. But because that Bobby Kotick and that goddamn analyst started changing the game in the last since yesterday, and
the NVIDIA guy today kind of screwed him a little bit too.
Well, the NVIDIA guy kind of turned it back around though. So like the Stadia guy he fucked up the FTC's case. Like that was awful. And then the NVIDIA guy was at first, but then when at the end Microsoft got a hold of him and he was like, yeah, no, it's good for business. I mean, I'm glad that we got it. So that's why Microsoft at the end of the case was in the closing
cross-examined.
Yeah. But in the closing today or this evening, they were basically saying like, look, the guy from the NVIDIA said it's good for business. So the FTC couldn't use that. The one thing, if this case is not going to come through, if it's not going to pass, it's because of the cloud. It's going to be because of the cloud situation. Because the uncertainty of if cloud is going to get big, and Microsoft got all the cards, Microsoft could become a monopoly in the sense of where the FTC was trying to make
Oh shit, what's going on?
He got
a fucking child Amber Alert.
I was going to say Amber Alert.
I was going to say, I thought it was a
tornado
through Oklahoma.
Yeah, you got Oklahoma and Texas over here. I thought it was a fucking tornado, bro.
Yeah, no.
You guys have been getting hit lately, man.
We have.
Tomorrow we'll see it in the news. The 405 is gone.
But the K Mega 405 still lives.
He's still limping. Anyway, still limping around.
He's limping around. Anyway, but
Mega move in with Predator for a while. You know what I'm saying?
But also, though, another astonishing thing was what Jim Ryan said, which he said, we expressed that we do not like Game Pass because our customers would gladly dip into their savings, satisfying our shareholders and maximizing our profits.
I mean, they're not wrong.
I'm saying though, that's pretty fucking fascinating that person gets that much clout to say that about.
It's cold-blooded.
Yeah, to say that about his customers of saying, look, they want to take care of our shareholders. They don't want Game Pass, which they do. We know that they want Game Pass. That's why they hate it.
If they had it, come on, dude. If they had a subscription service that every PlayStation first party drops into day and date. Mm-hmm. They would love that shit, man.
They would make a killing. They
clearly they would love it because they don't buy the damn games.
They don't have to, man. They don't have to buy the games, and it's perfect, bro.
Now here's some more, which was pretty amazing. And this would be the thing why the FTC will win. It's because of how big Call of Duty is overall on the PlayStation console. It's only 38%. It's only 38%. 62%
That's still pretty
of
big.
PlayStation.
That's still pretty big.
No. That's not accurate. They said 62% of gamers don't even play Call of Duty.
Don't play Call of Duty. That's what I'm saying. Like 30.
I'm one of those.
Out of the other half, 32% that you just said.
38%, yeah.
30 out of that 38%, most of them don't even play it more than they don't play it consistently. Over 200. What the average was 5 hours for the year,
or 200 hours a year.
But guys, the thing about it is it's about those skins. It's about that store.
Those Christmas skins.
Yo, yeah. You just switch to Xbox for the Christmas skin.
I heard that. I said, yo, you got to be fucking kidding me.
I can't believe he said that shit.
They just they could go through recent history and just find like exclusive skins and stuff like that, like for platforms.
Now, 38% of however many consoles sold on PlayStation is a lot of people buying Call of Duty.
Buying a Call of Duty, right.
Yeah, but like that's a hot. I don't know how many consoles are out there, but that's a shitload of people.
Right. Okay, I got 2 more points. And
well, Mega, real quick, can you read Sir X-Man's? Can you see Sir X-Man's super chat?
No.
This way?
I can see it if you want.
Yeah, somebody shout it out. Yo.
Said Sir X-Man for $2. Jim Ryan should be charged with perjury.
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 Oh, okay. See, he read it. He spelt it like perjury. So
no, he spelt it right.
Did he
spelled it right?
Yeah. So he spelled it. He spelled it like
that's perjury. You got it.
Man, I'm fucking retarded.
You know, Dark. This might be a polarizing topic. Maybe
I'm like, okay, yeah.
You heard, Dark?
Uh-oh.
Dark, it might be a polarizing topic. We might have
to.
Dude,
shut your damn mouth, goddammit. Listen. I said I was retarded already. Okay.
Oh shit. Okay.
Okay, man, get your last question. I want to ask this question before I forget.
Okay, all right. So there was 2, but this is the biggest one. People need to give Phil Spencer, and I posted it today. People need to give Phil Spencer and his team an apology. For all that time when people was talking shit that Phil needs to be fired, he ain't trying hard enough. Man, them transcripts, all the shit that Phil and them was trying to do to get through there, and they were blocked by Google, they were blocked by Apple, they were blocked by Sony, they were blocked by NVIDIA. They were blocked. Xbox was blocked by everything. They kept them in a box, and they still was trying to make moves. It's crazy. And the last point is this: even if the FTC wins this case, watch out. Because this is one caveat right here that I don't know how many people caught on. But this right here was the green light for Microsoft to get on a buying spree. Is because they were like, the reason why we're here is because Activision is such a big company. If this was a smaller company, this is what the FTC said. If it was a smaller company, then we would go through the situation. We would go and have our little investigation, and then we keep it moving because we wasn't trying to be used to spend these tax dollars on this if it wasn't important. If the judge decides, which I think the judge is absolutely wonderful, so there would be whatever her reasoning would be behind it, I trust.
You would think it would come from common sense, like whatever her decision is. It would come from
common sense. It wouldn't come from no bullshit. But Sega, CD Projekt Red, anything that's because the thing that they said was that because Activision was so large, so anything that's under Activision, because there's really not too many companies that's as big as Activision, it's a wholesale, baby. They about to get ignorant if they lose. So either way, and Bobby Kotick, for you, and to me, if they do lose, it's because of what Bobby Kotick said. It gave just some pause. Yo, and so you can have that fucking company,
real quick,
and then everything goes back.
Like I was gonna say this before, but we drifted off into something else because you brought up Kotick, right? When I saw what he said, one thing, like literally a light bulb appeared above my head. You know, like how people are trying to say they're not sure if Kotick's going to stay or if Microsoft's going to drop him. Obviously, when you see what he thinks about the Game Pass kind of like structure and stuff, he doesn't agree with any of that shit. Do you really think they're going to keep him there?
No, he's
Hell
out of
no.
there. And Bobby Kotick don't even want to be there.
No, he doesn't.
But his arrogance it could favor. It could just lead just that what Fred said, that one thing.
They should have trained him for one word answers only. Get him up and off as quick as possible.
Right.
I got you.
And that was the craziest shit to me. I was like, yo, bro, like, I mean, do you want to sell your company or
they don't agree. Xbox, Microsoft, does not agree with anything Kotick, and Kotick doesn't agree with anything them. The only thing they're doing is a transaction in which people are making money, and he's out of there. Go on.
Well, he's going to get his $3 billion regardless.
Yeah, he's going to get it anyway. Why not get just get him out of the industry? Get him the fuck out of there.
But his shareholders will be pissed. On top of that, he would still have to stay in for some capacity, and then even like in the hearing, when he was being arrogant about why he don't like Game Pass and all this and all that. Then when the FTC kind of caught on and was like, well, listen, we can have a difference of opinion. Microsoft can think of things like that. We're still, he realized, oh shit, I'm hurting this case. I'm not, and so he tried to change it up, but it was just too late.
I think in his mind he was thinking, I'm not going to be there anyway. So he was just like being honest with it. Then he was like, oh shit, like,
it was
like my bad.
Pete Hines thing, because Pete Hines didn't do a great job. But
was it one of those moments where he realized he was in court and then he realized, oh shit?
Right, like he kind of realized.
I like Pete Hines more than I like Todd Howard, yo.
Yeah, I was like, and Pete Hines didn't do that well either. I mean, they were speaking their truths, but then
I like Pete Hines more than I like Todd Howard, like just in general. I like Todd Howard for the talent and the imagination, but I like Pete Hines, man. Just in general, I think he's cool, dude.
You wouldn't have liked him in that court hearing.
I mean, I would have to go back and see what he said. I don't remember.
He just was.
He said a lot.
He bless his heart. He didn't know.
He didn't know.
Was that your last one?
Yeah, that's my last thing. Yeah, that's it.
What's the question, Fred?
I wanted to ask this. So, like, when
are you
I was
asking me
first?
What's going on?
And they kept bringing up Nintendo and Microsoft, but they kept doing it behind the scenes. They wouldn't discuss it publicly. So do you guys think Microsoft and Nintendo came up with a deal somewhere behind the scenes? Did they have,
no. I feel the reason why,
like a Call of Duty thing. I mean, like something deeper than that.
Guys,
like
the reason. Hold on,
it's possible.
Real quick. I'll be real quick with it. The reason why they keep coming up and talking about Nintendo in all this is because Microsoft wants the judge, the court, and everybody, public opinion, to really put Nintendo into the whole equation, because when they do that, then Microsoft is third place. You see what I'm saying? So they want Sony trying to separate
that already. That's already been a fact.
Yeah,
that's already sealed. Like they're good with that.
They kept talking about deals, and it wasn't like because the thing is, like, the deal with Call of Duty going to Nintendo was open source shit, but they would get into some more stuff, and they would always go off the record, or they would, like, anytime like discuss anything with Nintendo outside of the Call of Duty deal and Microsoft, they'd be like, okay, this is confidential, read line 6, read it to yourself, and they'd be like, yes, I'm aware of this, and they did it with all the Microsoft execs.
Oh, that's interesting, man.
Well, I mean, remember,
how many people
Nintendo
want
and Xbox
Nintendo
did a deal. They had a partnership. What was it, about 2 years ago?
Yeah.
So yeah,
I mean, they've had a good relationship for a long time now. I mean,
I just from just again me reading the tea leaves again, because you know how I do. I predict shit when I see shit, and this the way they were doing it, and the kind of like it just kind of made me think like there's something else going on here with Nintendo that we don't know, that's going to come down the pipe once the deal closes and they present their next console. Nintendo,
when it comes down to it, the only thing I can really think of is Game Pass on Switch.
That's kind of where I'm leaning to, is that
because they built up the whole cloud and everything like that.
Come to Xbox. They're going to do both things. Xbox is not just doing one thing and then just that theory is shot.
I gotta hit the super chat, but real quick on he went magenta on us. He dropped a magenta bomb.
I haven't seen a magenta in a while.
Yeah, yo, shout out to John TJ hitting up that super chat. Yo, and I like where you're going here, man. I'm gonna say something after this, but he's like K next. He's like, go get Remedy, certain affinity, ideas.
Adios.
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 Crystal Dynamics, Focus Entertainment. These Avalanche. Well, Avalanche, they're already working on an exclusive game contraband that I wanted to see. Crytek, CD Projekt Red, all of Warner Brothers, and Sega. Okay, so he did say Sega. Now, John, brother, they can't get all those. Okay, they really can't. Now you're eating up a chunk of the industry. But when it comes down to it, with what they are looking for studios and publishers for, I would say Sega fits the best with all of the different IP that they can resurrect, that can go either big AAA, a smaller AA, even go into the mobile space with like Golden Axe, stuff like that. Like I feel like Sega is the most versatile in that list that you showed, man.
Well, plus that would guarantee that Persona 6 or whatever comes out will go straight to Xbox as well.
And Game Pass, and
Game Pass, yeah.
Like they're starting to do now.
I mean,
interesting.
Honestly, I
don't
see it
be
happening.
Exclusive.
If this deal goes through, I don't see that happening anytime soon, because I think they'll kind of fall back for a little bit just to kind of have the heat get.
I wouldn't do that.
Down.
I wouldn't do that. I'd push further.
I know harder. You wouldn't. You wouldn't do that, but there's companies out there that are just like, yeah, we might want to sit back and let it rest, because I mean they know Xbox, they know that PlayStation can't afford to buy freaking Sega. They know that Nintendo just isn't gonna buy Sega, because
Sega is cheaper than Activision Blizzard though by a lot, man.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Oh, Activision. I'm sorry. Another thing in there was that Phil was pretty adamant about having Phil and Matt Booty. Matt Booty is a dog, bro. He don't be bullshitting. He's a killer.
Oh, dude, his email. He's like, yo, we got a unique. See, and that's another thing. Right. People got pissed off about his email. But if you look at what they were dealing with, he was just coming in, right? He's just coming in. He's the head of Microsoft Game Studios, right? He's looking at what Sony is doing in terms of paying for these games and stuff like that. He's like, they're. I can see him getting frustrated looking over there. He's like, yo, we're fucking Microsoft. We got this unique position we're in. They're going to keep fucking with us. We can start doing this.
Right.
And then people got mad about that, man.
Yeah,
come on.
But it makes sense because of the fact that they're a company. They have to figure out a way to compete.
Yes.
And if that means that they have to go out and buy these freaking companies and just so that they can get it on their console, they will have to do that. They will do that stuff.
Yeah.
So if anybody is mad about that, then you don't know business and you're retarded. So.
Right. And then
wow, dude. Wow.
And then also with Phil was like, because they made that in the cross examination or whatever, the where the FTC was cross talking to the Xbox employee. Feels like all ZeniMax single player games exclusive, all of them. Like, we ain't playing. Like, I was like, what? Like, you know what I'm saying? And then so like the guy in the
makes sense.
He said, wow, are you being like, and he basically asked again and felt like, no, we got an opportunity here and we're going to take it. Like, so that's the shit I'm talking about. Like, now, I mean, things are subject to change, but I mean, I mean, that makes perfect sense. I mean, why would you, because this is what Xbox's theory is, from what I gathered from the hearing. Multiplayer games that has a long standing, of course, they should stay and remain on all platforms because that's where you generate a lot more money. But to also to satisfy the Xbox only, the Xbox console only base and the PC base, and also, you know, for when they start mobile, is to have that content and those single player games. We will generate enough money through our through Game Pass and things like that in order for them to get it, because, and then also Starfield is a 10-year plan. That's a 10-year game. They got a 10-year plan.
Can't wait for that game, man.
And then
another Halo Infinite situation.
Well, no, not like
Fuck
that.
you, Dark.
They're just gonna have a lot of content, and now I don't know if this. I think she misspoke because Phil said something different on his stand about Elden
Did you
Ring.
say misspoke or forspoken?
Misspoke. Not about Elden Ring. I'm sorry about Elder Scrolls. But in the hearing, I mean, at the end of the when they were finishing up their arguments, the lady from Xbox said, for the lawyer said, Elden Ring is coming. I mean, not Elden Ring, but Elder Scrolls 6 is dropping in 2026. So
that's not what anybody on Xbox has been saying. They said it's a long ways away.
Right.
Was that
Phil
a prediction, or was that just a?
She just said it, like, and I was like, "Whoa!" The lawyer, the lawyer talking about the Microsoft said lawyer. Yeah,
that might have been.
Well, she also said Elder Scrolls 16. So
yeah, so that might have been.
Wow.
So it might have been. Yeah.
Dude, they skipped a couple iterations there, huh?
Right. What she was doing was correcting the FTC lawyers because they had mentioned Elder Scrolls they had mentioned earlier as a game that they were like talking about. There was multiplayer, or whatever, and it was I guess they thought that it was only available because they were talking about Elder. God damn it, you fucked me up when you said Elder Scrolls.
Elder Scrolls.
Yeah, they were talking about Elder Scrolls. They were talking about 6 being exclusive, and so she corrected them and said the online version is actually available to all, to PC, Xbox, and PlayStation 5. And then she said they're talking about a game that's not even out yet. It doesn't come out till 2026. So she's trying to correct and give because if she let that ride, it would have made it seem like Elder Scrolls was already out and it was already single player, first party for Xbox, and they weren't allowed it on the PlayStation, which wasn't the truth. She was like, no, that game is out, and we've continued to do updates for it, and there's 2 versions of this game. And this one, 6, is a single player game. So it's not an online game. She was trying to emphasize that, even though she got the numbers wrong. And I don't know about the date, about it being 2026, whatever.
Yeah,
I bet she said that. But she was correcting them and giving the right data then.
Yeah, he said that's about a good, what?
I mean, I don't know. That might be pretty close.
6 years.
I think that's about right. I would say 2026 would be right.
Yeah, would be about right. Because, I mean, when did they announce that game? They announced it, 2019?
2 years ago?
Yeah, somewhere around there. So
I mean, they said that it's still a long way away.
Yeah,
recently they said
2026 is a long way away, dude.
Yeah,
that's true. We're 2023 right now.
They'll weigh it anyway, so you look at
2027. So
guys, real quick, Drawn TJ has hit up the super chat again, and bro, I like where I think you're slick. I do think you're slick where you're going with this. He says, okay, go get Warner Brothers first, so you're in a different market, and you have DC and Sega after then, by small studios. See, I like what you're doing there, and I can tell you must be a Mortal Kombat fan. All right, because you just want them to secure Warner Brothers with Mortal Kombat, and like you said, DC as well. Got that whole range right there. I hear you on that, but then go for Sega afterwards with like
I don't know about Warner Bros. Because Warner Bros. is pretty big as well.
Right.
I can see the reasoning though, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I can see the reasoning too. Yeah, that would solidify them as being, the top of the top, right? At that
I'm going to tell you right now, if this deal goes through, Sony is going to buy something.
Yeah,
you're gonna buy.
They're going to buy one of the big.
People are gonna be like, I'm so shocked.
They're going to buy it out of spite only. Out of spite.
And here's the crazy part about all this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Sony could get blocked now because they brought up all these points of why Microsoft shouldn't do it, and they're in 3rd place. Sony does it, and they're in 1st place. That right there is that's anti-competition because they're already in 1st place. Like, why are you buying up all this shit and you're in 1st place? And that can be so Microsoft can pull the same shit that Sony's did and be like, yo, like, you're in 1st place. Why are you buying WB? Like, that's anti-competition.
Damn.
Right.
Are they really in 1st place? I thought Nintendo was.
No.
Nintendo's the number 1 selling console, but Sony's the number 1
the market share
leader.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all this shit that they just did and all these arguments and stuff that they brought up and shit, like, it could actually work against them long term because they're, like I said, they're in 1st place when it comes to market share. And so the market leader is going out and buying a big fucking studio. Because I don't think I look at it this way. If Sony would have went out and bought Activision, I don't think Microsoft would have tried to block the deal. I don't think that.
No, they would have. They would have bought Sega and like IO Interactive, right?
Yeah, they would
right
have. They would have went on that spending spree and bought the other shit that's out there.
Yeah.
Or but I don't know if they'd have gone as far as what Sony's doing right now, as far as how they're championing to kind of stop the merger, the way they're doing it. So, but now that Sony has done it, I could see Microsoft's response if they decide to go and purchase something big like a Ubisoft or EA, or if they had the money for any of those things.
Like I didn't even think about that, man.
They don't have the.
Yeah, I think Microsoft would be like, oh, hold up, homie, hold up, bro, hold up.
Yeah,
All that,
And you got this. You got documentation of them stating the direct opposite when it comes to it. You can always just point back to this court case, which is what you do in court.
Because now you have precedents.
Yes.
And they can go back and say, okay, and Microsoft versus FTC in 2023, you stated this. So now they can throw that in their face now.
Damn. And you know what's funny about that, Pred? When you bring that up, Sony already thought about that, right? That's how desperate they are to try to stop this. Like that's a big threat moving forward, yo.
Of course. They
because they don't want Microsoft to get into the mobile market.
They have to do what they have to do to stay on top. Wouldn't you? Wouldn't you want to stay on top of
they
the
have
market,
to by law in terms of being a corporation is what you got to do.
Just think about you putting Game Pass in the mobile market. Like how crazy that would be.
I mean, it's basically in the mobile market already.
I mean, if it's all tied in,
no,
together,
but
not like
it's not an Apple. It's not in Google.
Well, it is. Through
it's
the cloud
not.
And stuff. You can use the cloud.
But the cloud is a different entity than a mobile. Because
I know. But what I'm saying is that it's still there is the possibility of it being more towards.
Yo, guys, my bad. I have to interrupt because John TJ is going nuts right now. Yo, shout out to you, brother. First off, for the support, but I'm not saying you're going nuts because of the super chats. It's what you're saying right now, man. You are going in. He says Warner Brothers is worth about 34 billion. Sega is 5 billion. Right. I think 34 billion. That would be more than just games. Like you're getting like licenses to shows and shit like that at that point in time, right?
Well, no. Well, it depends on what they want to buy. Do they want to buy Warner Bros. as a whole, or do they want to buy Warner Bros.
I think that's the other part. That's the other part of this. Okay. Sega's 5 billion. Not much scrutiny. It's worth it. Remember, they never really left the table with Warner Brothers. They just announced this week Warner Brothers is willing to sell IPs and all studios make everything multi-platform. Bro.
So they went back into saying that they're going to sell everything, huh?
Oh, shoot.
Well, of course they're going to. Here's the thing, okay? With WB, what they're trying to do is sell off their gaming market.
Yeah.
Because they're not really.
The only thing they ever make money on is Mortal Kombat, really.
Right, pretty much. So they're like, we're trying to get out of gaming, so they want to kind of throw that out and get that away. Now, if we're talking about the 34 billion, that might be the entirety of.
I think that's
Warner
the entirety.
Bros.
Yeah, I think that's all.
And they're not going to sell off everything. They're not going to sell off their movie franchises and things like that. They're not going to do that. They may have to sell off some stuff, like maybe some of the stuff that isn't making them enough money or what. I mean, every company's going through that right now. There's a lot, but believe it or not, there's a lot of companies out there right now that are really getting hindered by the streaming stuff, like HBO Max, which is Max now. Disney's getting really hit pretty bad. Netflix, I'm surprised they're still afloat. I mean, they're always in the freaking black over there. I mean, they're always
talk about living on loans. Living on loans. Yeah, they're Netflix.
They're living on scraps. Okay?
And dude, they're coming out with like One Piece live action movies and stuff like that. They're going nuts over there. Man.
Yeah, dude. They're living on.
I want to see that, by the way.
They're living on welfare over there. So it's definitely like there's a lot of things going on in the film industry right now that is very, very reminiscent of what's going on with gaming, and the tides are turning. Things are going into process like Disney. I don't think Disney's going to sell off like Marvel and Star Wars and stuff, but they're in the process of selling off, possibly selling off some of their IPs that they own or whatever. So there's a lot of that going on.
Huh, that's interesting. That's interesting. It's
Yeah.
like when it comes down to it, I think I think they got a lot of success right off the bat when it came to Marvel. And I think with Star Wars, unfortunately, I think they screwed a lot of shit up, man. Like,
they did, but it still makes them a
bad.
lot of money. It still makes them a ton of money.
It does, yeah, because it's not just it's the entirety of the IP. You're talking the toys and all that.
Right,
crazy.
exactly.
Yeah, I got
exactly.
you, man. Well,
so
guys,
that's where they are.
No doubt, bro. But guys, I think that's pretty much it for now, man. We gotta wind it down. I gotta get to bed. I gotta go to work in the morning. I feel like this has been one of the more entertaining shows when it's come to this court case. I had a lot of fun doing it. Everybody in the chat, I hope you had a lot of fun hanging out with us as well. And as I'm saying this, Sir X-Man hits up the super chat one more time. He says, Phil Spencer is America's version of Godzilla. Does he shoot lightning out of his mouth? Yo, John TJ, hit up the super chat. He says, I would buy it all because they can run themselves and you can put your games into movies and shows. They wouldn't need Netflix for Gears movie and Halo show on Paramount. It's worth it, and it makes it easier to buy studios. Dude, I see what you're saying, like buying it as a whole. The only issue...
I get what he's saying, but that would never happen.
No, they won't. They're not willing to sell that.
It's not.
It would be a hostile takeover. We're not down.
Right.
Let's not do hostile takeovers, man. I think Microsoft's trying to stay away from hostile takeovers anyway. Like they're just now kind of like getting a better name for themselves. Like after the whole Windows thing.
Yeah.
You know, like
and that's the thing. They're not gonna want to really like ruffle those feathers in any way. So yeah, that's not gonna happen. They could do it. They have the money to do it for sure, but that wouldn't happen.
I got you. And shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to the people hitting up the super chat. I'm checking right now, TJ. I think I believe I got absolutely every one of yours. I got every super chat tonight, guys. Panel, that's a rarity right there. But we did it. Shout out to the chat. Of course, shout out to the panel. Like I said, it's been a blast tonight. But like a 40-year-old with a comb over, it's time to get those plugs in. And let's start with the Angry Otter tonight. Let's start with Optimus. Optimus, man, you're streaming over here on YouTube. What's going on? And let me know the exact date that you'll be streaming Final Fantasy so I could be there.
I can't give you an exact date,
motherfucker.
Because we just started Diablo 4. So
I hear that's a quick game. You breeze right through that, kind of like Ratchet and Clank.
Not even close. Who told you that?
No. No, you guys can find me on Twitter, Dark Optimus. You can also find me on Xbox and PlayStation. That's the same name. You guys can also follow me here on YouTube, where I do all my live streams every Monday, Wednesday, Saturday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Right now, we're going through Diablo 4. We dropped Street Fighter 6 like a hat. Because we were just not having a good time with that. So
the story, man. The story.
We dropped it.
It's
it's
not. The fighting looks great. Fighting is
great.
But trying to find doing scavenger hunt things and dude with TV just keeps coming up to you to fight you and shit like that. No.
Yeah. So we switched over to Diablo 4.
Well, that's good, and as soon as you start streaming Final Fantasy, I'll
let you know. Man.
I will be there.
I will let you know for sure.
Thank you, bro. Let's see. Let's go to Pred's gonna kill me. Let's go to K Mega. Mega.
Oh.
I believe you have a show tomorrow. What is going on with that? Can you give us a little insight on what you might be talking about? And of course, everything else with your channel, man. What's going on?
I'm gonna get messy. Talk about them numbers to that Final Fantasy game. You know what I'm saying? Lower than the mighty Final Fantasy 16, the last multiplayer Final Fantasy game to date. These numbers keep getting lower and lower. Something's got to give. But regardless, we'll be talking about that. Of course, we'll be talking more in depth about the FTC stuff and just having some fun about that. And I don't know what else. I mean, shit, there's plenty of stuff to talk about as always. But Fight Night's been on hold because I'm over here trying to get to level 100 on Diablo. People know if I'm into something to try to get to something, then I'm just lost. So I'm lost right now. I'm 68. So
you got a long way, dude.
Well, not necessarily. Not necessarily.
You got a long way.
No, you want me to say I got a long way?
Because after you get to 70, past that, it gets way more.
Well, no, I've already been in Torment. I've already been in Torment. No, it's fine. I'm good.
Okay, so you're in Torment now.
No. Well, I was in Torment, but then I went back to 3, so I can go ahead and knock out these side missions. But I'm waiting to get to. I'm going to get to like 69, and then I'm going back to Torment, so I can go ahead and get and level up quicker and get in those do those crazy dungeons.
These and shit. Nerds.
Bro, this is my destiny, so it's all good. Anyway, live and learn, sucker. Live and learn.
Completely different from Destiny, but okay.
You pull that card, I can't say anything now. I can't say anything.
Well, no, I'm just saying. Like, I mean, me and PTK Blam has been playing, and he says there's a lot of similarities in this and Destiny in a way. Except you just don't, they don't prefer you to hoard your items and stuff. You get rid of them, but other than that,
the hoarding of items now.
Yeah, GRG podcast tomorrow night, 8 p.m. to 8:15 ish. Everything seems to be working, so we're fine. But yeah, check us out. Appreciate it. We'll definitely be bringing Fight Night back, but also got a new podcast which is with me and Ham Solo on Mondays at about 1:30. During the day, and it's called The Crossover. We do it on his channel, then we do it on my channel, and this coming up week will be on my channel, so it'll be right before the 4th of July. So we'll get it popping for you guys, so come check us out.
You're calling it The Crossover. Is there some type of competitive nature in this show between you guys, or
well because we're crossing over to one podcast to another with the show.
Got you. See, as soon as you said crossover, I was thinking about the answer, man. Like,
no, man,
AI,
it's a bunch of filthy Xbots just sitting over there on their high horse.
Anybody can come on in and we keep a
Dude, don't be mad because you're not invited, okay?
I'm already on GRG, so I don't.
Yeah, he kind of weaseled his way on there, didn't he, K-Mega?
He did. He was sniffling and crying and trying to do shit with his stuffy head.
Even though K-Mega was all like, "Hey man, I need some help over here on GRG. I don't have any." Anybody, we're kind of short on people, bro.
Yeah, no, I was good. You came through, and then I used you for that week.
No, bro. No, come on, no.
You was gone, and you was like, hey man,
tell the truth, bro. Tell the truth, bro.
Now,
you asked me.
For anybody wondering why, I said Fred would hate me. This is why. This is why right here.
I like it here, man. I like it a lot. Because I asked you for a guest, and then I said, all right, you want to...
I didn't want to be with them filthy Xbots at all. I didn't want to be with them at all.
This man said, oh, shit. He said, we want to snuggle up under the K-Mega teeth. He wants to be there. Okay. So come on. All right.
Those are some saggy teats, man.
Yeah, they good, though. They good.
They hang to the floor.
Pred, do you know what they're even talking about anymore? Do you know?
I don't even know.
I have no idea what they're even saying.
This is just what we do, GRG
This
family.
is what we do.
Yo, Pred, I saved you for last. I know I'm now probably high on your list of best friend status, but what do you got for an outro, bro?
I don't even know where to go with this. I'm on a new podcast on Thursday. It's called it starts about 6:00 Texas time. Right around the same time as this show called Next Podcast. So I'll see you guys next week.
Oh,
shit! I'm like, damn.
dude, like you had everybody listening. Hold on, I'm like Thursday. Are you gonna do double? Like
This time?
Oh,
Damn.
I got right there.
I got nothing.
yeah.
I got nothing. So I'll see y'all next week, bro.
That man said he needs his contract to be renewed, but he's out.
Oh, no.
I need them nickels and dimes and
I'm
shit.
gonna have to bring.
Mega.
I'm gonna have to bring
Hey,
back.
I'm in a contract year. I'm gonna step it
there
up.
you go, Craig. Get him, cause
I'm gonna have to bring
I
back
fuck
the
around.
Predator logo.
I need that check, bitch.
That's
Oh,
right.
shit.
That's right. That man
Pay
said,
me.
"Hey, yep." We see your super chats today. Yeah, so I need.
What are you talking about?
I've seen your super chat, so I
What
need
are you talking
so
about?
at the end of the
I
on the
know.
24th of next month, I want at least like half of that nickels and
You're not
dimes.
making any revenue.
I don't
on
know what
this,
you're talking
on
about.
this show,
Super chats, yo.
so
They colored that
Speed it up.
in crayon on their computer screen, and it shows up on everybody's. Man, that's how that works.
Hey, how that shit?
Yeah,
I ain't
that's
been
all that
getting
is.
nothing. I've been on this show for years, and all those super chats, I ain't seen it out one.
not one red cent.
Not one.
Oh my goodness, yo, TJ, yo, shout out to
He's
TJ,
running.
bro.
Even kept my daughter's
Bro.
Call of Duty game. I ain't got that
Bro,
back yet.
we're gonna get you on the show.
Damn.
We're gonna get you on the show, bro, and you're gonna let people know why you come and hang out.
Listen,
on this channel.
I need to defund this freaking show.
And on that note, guys, it is time to wrap it up. We are here every Thursday, 8 p.m., which of course is prime time. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, and we will see you next week for the next podcast. Have a great night, everybody.
That's insufficient data that we're going to be here next week. We don't know that.
But is it all? Is it all
Are
publishers?
you unanimous on that, or you know
Yeah, I'm just
It's a
unanimous, not all.
possibility? Yeah.
Smoke in the air, pure gasoline. I see the news, see what you read. Change gotta come, put that on me and watch me educate. Yeah, we been could've started, but it's never late. Do it for my kids, yeah, let's set it straight. Do it for your kids, gotta set it straight. It's time to regulate. We need change now. We need solar, we need EV in the game now. Make it changes so the earth we know can stay around.